So everyone, thank you so much for viewing. Welcome to the Be Well Live series. My name is Dr. Melanie Carminati. I'm the founder of Inspira Physical Therapy and Pilates here in Park Slope and Carroll Gardens, Brooklyn, New York. Inspira is a team of doctors of physical therapy who are also Pilates practitioners, and we specialize in a whole bunch of different holistic services, including pelvic floor PT, craniosacral therapy, visceral manipulation, other advanced orthopedics. If you want to learn more, just check out our website or our page here. So today we will be chatting about compassionate self-care and shifting your internal dialogue to that of self-love. We're going to be finishing up with the sound bath courtesy of Sara, but I want to first take time to honor that today is a day of reflection and commemoration for the end of slavery in the United States, June 19th, 1865. So encouraging reflection has been a big movement in the fight to end racism, and this all starts with turning inward. So today's topic is appropriate because in order to act compassionately towards others, we must first express that compassion to ourselves. There's really no other way. So for those who don't know Sara, Sara, yes, Colombian boy, we got a prayer hand for that. Yeah, so Sara Choi is a board certified holistic nurse, emergency nurse, integrative health and wellness coach, holistic healing practitioner, and Reiki master. She has 15 years of experience as a trauma, emergency, and holistic registered nurse. She works part-time as a holistic nurse and per diem as an ER nurse in 2 New York City hospitals, one of which is Lenox Hill Hospital. And she founded Sarong Healing LLC, where she journeys with individuals reconnecting with their own healing and self-care. In all of her work, she strives to facilitate awareness of each of our own innate abilities to heal and make positive changes towards our true selves. So, Sara, thank you so much for being here. I wanted to just start off with, actually, I wanted to read a bit of a book that I'm rereading right now, just to set the scene again, if that's okay. So I'm rereading Falling into Grace by Adyashanti. I don't know if you've read that one.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, yes.
So I love Adyashanti, and just to set the scene for, turning inwards, he says that everybody has their own unique emotional environment, somewhat like an emotional North Pole. And then he goes on to say, as I often tell my students, the person you'll have the hardest time opening to and truly loving without reserve is yourself. Once you can do that, you can love the whole universe unconditionally. But it all starts with you. These teachings also start with you. You're the most vital aspect of all of them. So just to set the scene there. So now, Sara, most individuals during COVID and now with this movement that's becoming more popular to end racism, it's allowed for more time for self-reflection and awareness. How would you say most individuals are, being affected by these times to turn in?
I would say throughout the world, we've been forced to slow down. We live in a society that encourages us to get tasks done, and the value of our life is what we do and our outcome, what we're planning, and all the boxes that we're checking. And with COVID and everything that's happening, it's forcing us to go inward. It's really pushing the pause button and telling us to lean more into the stillness. And we're not really comfortable with that. We live in a society that is surrounded with distracting devices, right? We're actually talking on one right now with social media and cell phones. And, I was just thinking about this today. I used to raise the window and stick my hand out the window to see what the temperature was like. Now, as soon as I wake up, I ask Alexa, what's the temperature today? We're so dependent on these devices. And I find that with COVID, more people have been telling me I've been able to do the things that I wasn't able to do before because I was just working, pushing through, staying busy. And when we take all of those quote unquote resources away, such as going to work 9 to 5 and hustling and going on to the next project, it really makes us question, like, what is our true resource?
Mm-hmm.
And resources come in so many different venues, right? It's energy, it's our physical health, it's our mental health, it's our time, it's our support systems,
Mm-hmm.
our friends and family that love us and are there for us. And it makes us really question, like, how have I been investing in these other resources, valuing them, and how are they giving into my life that I may or may not have recognized before?
Absolutely.
So,
So in regards to that and the internal dialogue, that many of us will notice now that we're turning in and sitting in that pause, sitting in that stillness, how like why are most of our internal dialogues, I guess, more not loving than we would expect?
yeah, that's a really great question. Actually, so in my coaching sessions, that's the number one topic that I address is
Mm,
our internal dialogue. And, you know, internal dialogue is our inner voice that is constantly speaking. And it never really is quiet. Even in our dreams, we still kind of go through our dreams with that inner voice. And we have a predisposition oftentimes to have a negative leaning and a negative bias because we learned as children to protect ourselves from getting
mm,
hurt, protect ourselves from getting too close and vulnerable because that relationship or that job or that person or whatever it may be may not pan out.
mm,
We're taught to safeguard and not trust. And so we have this negative bias and disposition to kind of think ahead to the next step. Like, well, how is this going to turn out? That may or may not be the best. So a great way to kind of shift that dialogue is to challenge it. It's like when you have a good friend or a sister or brother or a mother or father who tells you, like, okay, like, cut the BS. Sometimes I give my internal dialogue that's negative a name. I call her Nelly, like negative Nelly. I'll be like, okay, Nelly, like, calm down. You know, when I start to go down this road where I ruminate, like, oh my gosh, what if COVID comes back? What if, you know, we have to go through this again? And I'm like, okay, let's take a big deep breath. And a way to challenge it is to think about the reality. We can go steps ahead and say, like, what if, what if, what if? I call it the ouds. Like, this could happen. I should have done this.
mm,
What would happen if I do this? And we go on this hamster wheel of ouds, right? I should have known more about Black history. And then it kind of like cripples us. And so what I really encourage people to do is learn the balance, to challenge your inner voice, see what the reality of the situation is, and address that. So, say for example, you're saying, oh my God, I should have been working out more, being more physical with the time that I've had. I shouldn't have ordered so much seamless. When you confront it and you offer yourself compassion, and you kind of address your inner voice as your best friend. So if your best friend said, like, oh my God, I've been ordering so much seamless and, you know, I haven't been working out, I don't fit in my jeans, I feel so fat and blah, 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 what would you tell your best friend? You'd be like,
you
oh, it's
know, you
okay.
look great. Yes, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So what we are invited to do is to make ourselves our own best friends and to consider that our highest self, because our highest self is us. I
Mhm.
think a lot of times we see our highest self as this like magical being that's out there, but honestly, it's all the good that's within us that calls us to go into this stillness, take some time and reflect and tap into the good that's always already within us. And so then offer that perspective to your inner voice and
Mhm.
say, you know what? We're going through a pandemic. all of us are going through this pandemic together. It's our very first time.
Mm.
And so offer yourself some grace. Maybe you ordered Seamless 3 times this week. Maybe next week you'll order it twice. And maybe you didn't go out, running like you wanted to or working out. Go for a walk tomorrow when you get a break. So studies show that the more you're positive in your inner thought life, your actions become positive and you're more likely to do positive things in the future because it's positive reinforcement and not negative reinforcement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great.
One thing I do want to say is the good thing about having an internal dialogue is it does help us navigate through things. So I've noticed that with people who are expressive and extroverts during this time of social injustice, some people feel empowered to speak out. And the powerful thing about an internal dialogue is taking in the information and then as you go in, you say to yourself, okay, as I take in this information, what do I feel empowered to share?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other coin of that is not feeling so crippled by not being an expert in something and feeling empowered to share what you know or what you feel called to do. Like, say, for example, your inner dialogue may be like, well, I'm not going to go protest, but I can sign a petition. So it's great for also making decisions for positive change.
Great. Yeah, so you touched on two really great points that the tool that you're giving us is to challenge that internal dialogue, bring it back to reality and where we are, the UDs, like you said. And yeah, and then the fact that it is useful. We need the internal dialogue in some way to function in the world. You need it to make decisions. So is there anything specific about Jupiter retrograde that you wanted to bring up? Because you know a ton about this stuff.
um, well, honestly, we're actually in 5 retrograde planets right now.
Oh, we are.
Mercury just went in, yeah, Mercury retrograde just went into retrograde yesterday.
Okay.
Hence the delays in internet connection.
Mm.
Actually, my meditation music just cut out right before I went live.
Oh, wow.
So Mercury is the planet of communication.
Mm.
It's a planet of technology. It's the planet of short distance travel. So whenever it goes retrograde, it basically means because we're on Earth, it's our perspective on Earth. The planets appear to be going in the opposite direction. And it'll go direct
Pilates Dojo says
in
makes
July.
sense. Yeah, totally makes sense, right, Pilates Dojo?
Yeah, yeah. So the tips for this is it is Mercury in retrograde in Cancer, and Cancer is all about home, what
That's me.
comforts you. Yeah,
I'm a
that's your
Cancer.
sign. Your home, what comforts you, your family, your relatives, your ancestors. It's that grandmother energy. It's that nurturing, cared for, nurturing others, caring for others, being empathetic. And so retrogrades oftentimes invite us to reevaluate those relationships, nurture the relationships that feed you and make you feel good, and maybe take a step back from the relationships that don't make you feel good. And also, it's a great time for renovating your home if you've been considering moving in with a partner or a roommate or moving out of an apartment and finding your own place or moving into another place. This is a good time to kind of think about next steps, but maybe not necessarily sign contracts. It's a good time to be
Mm.
mindful.
Mm.
Yeah, so all retrogrades invite us to do the R words, which is reflect, recognize, reevaluate, rest, renew, and tap into your rituals. So, and it's also a great way to be aware. So if you've noticed, more people are becoming aware during this time. I mean, Pluto went retrograde in April. Saturn went retrograde in May.
Mm.
Venus went retrograde in May. Jupiter went retrograde in May. And what happened during all of this in April and May,
Yeah,
right?
a
It's like
whole lot of
all these
change.
shifts,
Yeah.
change and awareness, and old structures are crumbling. People are having to reevaluate and say, the ideas that I had about finances and systems and jobs and what makes me happy and relationships are changing. And so another cool thing is tomorrow. It is the summer solstice, and
Mm.
it's the new moon solar eclipse. So it's a huge portal. A summer solstice is summer energy. In Oriental medicine, it's fire, so it's expansion. It's
Mm.
expanding our perspective. It's expanding our worldview and our view of humanity.
Mm.
And the new moon is an opportunity to welcome new beginnings,
Mm.
new perspectives,
Mhm.
a new chapter.
Mm.
The solar eclipse tells us what old values am I ready to let go. So we already see this happening, and
Mm.
it's amazing how the universe kind of influences us and
Wow.
we don't even know it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Holy smokes. And
yeah.
now tell me, does this happen normally that there are so many retrogrades in a row? It's
It doesn't happen often.
wow.
I was listening to the astrology in 2019, and every astrologer was like, 2020 is going to be huge. Most astrologers already predicted something was going to happen January, February, March around our health and finances, which we obviously know has happened.
Hmm.
So I actually think astrology is a great tool for awareness.
Hmm.
Um, During this retrograde, what I do encourage people to do in their reflective practices is, if you're into journaling, journaling is a great way to tap into that inner stillness and process. The other way is creating an altar. And it doesn't have to be like woo woo, like, oh, altar. It could be like a plant, a picture of your loved one, maybe your grandmother, um, an affirmation card that you like, an affirmation that you've written for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a candle, a flower, things like that. And what it does is it sets up a sacred space in your home. So every time you pass by it, you know that that's your sacred space, and to bring you back to center. Because I think it's easy to kind of get stuck in our mind and get caught up in the whirlwind around us, which is to be expected. But it's so important to have centering and grounding practices. So
Mm.
having this touchstone in your life and in your home is really a powerful tool. Also, because it's an eclipse in Cancer, which is a water sign, as you know, consider using water as a part of healing in your practice. So if you have a bathtub and you like taking baths, add some salts. You can add some basil,
Mm-hmm.
flowers, rosemary, things like that. If you use a shower, you could drop some essential oils of lavender or eucalyptus, whatever makes you feel connected to the earth and grounded. Other things you can use is crystals. You can put it on your altar, healing music. And if you feel like you need a little extra support during this time, you can do one-on-one coaching or distant Reiki. Reiki is a powerful tool for grounding and shifting and balancing energies.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. I just want
I went
to
off, sorry.
no, that was all great. I loved it, and I'm sure everyone who's watching has loved it too. We have a few comments from the joyful approach, and then I saw that Colombian boy gave a comment about the internal dialogue thing that you said, and he said in challenging to try to think of the opposite. So that's something to consider too, with trying to
Yes,
challenge. So, in regards to sound healing, how can sound healing facilitate this internal journey?
what I love about sound healing is we're 70% water in our bodies, and the sound waves, the frequencies affect our body and our mind. It puts us in a state of relaxation. It actually invites us to a brainwave that's a delta brainwave. So with you and I speaking, we're an alpha brainwave, which is fast.
Mm-hmm.
Beta brainwave is when we kind of tune out and we're watching TV, but we're in the background, subconsciously aware. And then delta is when we go into a meditative state.
Mm-hmm.
And this often happens with meditation, sound healing sessions, and Reiki, things like this. And so what I love about that is it decreases the variability in the heart rate, which a lot of times with anxiety and ruminating thoughts, and when we feel like we don't have a grasp and a control on things, our heart rate can be variable, and so we feel like we're having palpitations, and it feeds into our anxiety. So this is what oftentimes causes people to breathe faster or feel like their hands and feet are tingling. And so what is great about sound healing is it lowers the heart rate variability, it relaxes the brain waves, it reduces your respiratory rate and deepens the respiratory drive, and it also decreases cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And when we decrease cortisol, it decreases inflammation and swelling, which helps decrease pain. So a lot of times when people experience a sound session, they feel very relaxed and renewed, and they have a decreased perception of pain and stress.
Wonderful. So everyone who's watching, Sarah's going to be giving us a little sample of that sound healing in just a minute, but I wanted just to wrap up because I know that after sound healing, we're not going to continue the chat. So any final tips for home practice while people are at home that you haven't mentioned already that you wanted to put out there?
I'd say spend time listening to yourself. COVID has kind of prepared us for this, prepared us for these retrograde seasons. It's a time of turning in to listen, and then listen outwardly too, for people who you feel like, you know what, their message speaks to me and I really want to support that message. You can listen to podcasts that elevate your higher mind. Clear out the clutter. That means you can clear out the clutter in your mind through meditation and stillness, through journaling, through processing with a good friend that doesn't judge you. Also, clear out relationships that no longer serve you for your highest good. If you have connections with people that are kind of draining your energy, listen to yourself. This is part of healthy self-dialogue and self-care and compassion is boundaries, and boundaries with yourself, saying, okay, I've invested enough time with these people, I'm ready to move on. And it's not necessarily selfish, it's more self-care, because you have to value your own life and what's blossoming in your life. The other things you can do while you're spending more time indoors is even if it's 2 to 3 minutes of pausing in mindfulness, whether it's focused meditation or being mindful in your actions. I think we're taught to be on autopilot and go through our life, but even if it's washing a dish, I'm washing the inside of the dish, I'm washing the outside of the dish, I'm rinsing it, I'm putting it away, being more involved in the moments in your life instead of just floating through your life. And after a while, your life just passes you by. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're already in June. I can't believe it. You know? The other thing is breath exercises, breath practices. There's some amazing breath facilitators out there. I love breathing practices. It really helps me shift energy, and it's great virtually. And actually, I think the Joyful Approach is on here. Thank you for joining. Self-massage is wonderful. So in Ayurvedic practice, they use body oils or lotion, and they massage themselves every night. And it's part of being grounded and being
Mm.
in touch with your body.
Mm.
Because with everything that's going on, we have so many thoughts. Not only are they like from media and from our friends and family members, but they're also from our inner dialogue. And so it's so important to get in touch with your body. um, Yoga, Tai Chi practices. I've been doing Tai Chi. That's really
Mhm.
helped me. Stretching, walking. And then the other thing, because it is summer, is connect with other people. Go outside, be mindful, wear your masks, wash your hands, but connect with people when you're ready, when you've listened to yourself and you feel like it's part of you expanding and growing.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you,
Yes.
Sarah. So I'll
Yes.
let you guide us into the sound bath now.
Yes, so I invite everyone to get into a comfortable position,
Okay.
and you're welcome to put the phone down and just listen to my voice. And as you tap into your body, I invite you to deepen your breath, slow it down. As you listen to the sounds in your room or wherever you are, the sound of your breath as it passes through your nose, the sound and the beat of your heartbeat. And as we deepen our breath, I invite you to offer yourself forgiveness in the ways that maybe you feel like you've fallen short, or maybe you've been hard on yourself. Your standard for yourself has been so high. Maybe you had an inner critic growing up, and so you've kind of been used to the inner critic in your mind. And as you take a breath, you can put your hand on your heart or your belly and say, I am worthy of my own forgiveness. I am worthy of my own time. I am worthy of my own energy. I am worthy just as I am. Just as I am worthy. May my eyes be open to see the truth of the divinity of my being, that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. May my ears be open to hear the truth within me, in my inner voice. May my voice be open to speak truth, truth with grace, with compassion and mercy, towards myself and overflowing towards others. And as you continue in this state, I invite you to listen to the sound, continuing with your breath. For this moment of taking a pause to reflect on freedom, what it means to be free. Free from self-limiting thoughts and actions. As we take a breath, we're grateful for this breath. For the breath that has been shortened, we remember. May we listen to ourselves, our highest voice, our highest calling. For such a time as this, we're called into this world for a purpose. May we listen. May we hear. May we speak the truth that needs to be told and shared. With a big deep breath in, exhaling out with a sigh. Breath in again. Exhaling out with a sigh, letting go of anything associated, any old beliefs, old limitations, insecurities, ways that you may have muzzled yourself. It's time to be free. It's a new chapter, a new beginning, a new season, a new era. And with this, I invite you to wiggle your toes and ankle. Breathing into your lower belly, your lower back. Breathing into your upper belly, your mid-back. Adding space and breath to your heart center. Adding space to your throat, your neck, your jaw, your eyebrows, and the space between your eyes, your third eye. And take note of the space you've made in your mind. And when you're ready, you can bring your awareness back to this place as you open your eyes. Thank you so much. I know it ran a little bit longer. Enjoyed that.
Yes, no, absolutely. Thank you, Sara. Thank you, everyone who has been with us viewing. This is going to be on my IGTV, and then I'll definitely share the recording with Sara. So if anyone wants to listen to it over, if you missed the beginning, don't worry, there will be the recording that we'll post. And I will be continuing, so I will be continuing for 2 more weeks with the Be Well Live series. I know originally it was supposed to end today, but I've had a few more colleagues, so I wanted to share information with. So next Tuesday, June 23rd at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Instagram, I'm going to be speaking with my colleague, Dr. Raina Eleazar, who's also a PT. We'll be chatting about when to see a physical therapist and how to find the right PT for you. So everyone, please stay well. Sara, thank you so much for sharing everything with us and for this beautiful experience.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So, yes, thank you. Everybody stay well. Have a good weekend. And thank you.